Do you know a country where power isn't held in just one place, but in five? A nation so geographically vast, so politically complex, and so historically layered that it chose to decentralize its very identity, not by accident, but by design. This is South Africa, the only country on Earth with three official capitals and two additional power centers, each playing a role in its functioning machinery. And somehow, it works. Not perfectly, but undeniably, it works. To understand how this improbable structure survives, you must understand what South Africa is, not just as a country, but as a continent in itself. One nation, 11 official languages, 9 provinces, thousands of ethnic lineages, and 2 oceans. Its geography alone splits it between stark opposites, from the rich Highveld Plateau to the arid Karoo, from colonial ports to tribal homelands. It was never meant to be a single state. It became one because of history, because of collision, and because of a series of choices. Some imposed, some survived. At the heart of this country is Pretoria, the executive capital. This is where the president sits, where ministries run, where decisions are made. But Pretoria alone doesn't hold all the cards. Drive about 1,400 kilometers south, and you'll reach Cape Town, the legislative capital. It's here that Parliament meets, laws are debated, and democracy is performed. The sea brushes the city's edge, but so does the legacy of colonizers. This is where the Dutch landed, where the British fortified, and where the seeds of apartheid and resistance both took root. Still, neither city judges the judiciary. That role belongs to Bloemfontein, the judicial capital. A city built in the high plains, nearly forgotten in global headlines, yet home to the Supreme Court of Appeal. While other countries stack their powers in one place, South Africa decided to scatter them. Deliberately. It seems chaotic, redundant, even risky. But it was built that way. Partly to balance power, partly to appease provinces, and partly because no single city could claim a neutral identity after apartheid ended. These capitals reflect a compromise between ethnicities, provinces, histories, and political tensions that could have torn the country apart. But the story doesn't end at 3, because if you follow the money, you'll land in Johannesburg. Technically not a capital, but practically, it's the economic engine of the continent. The city was born from gold, literally, when the world's richest gold reef was discovered in 1886. What began as a mining town exploded into a metropolis of finance, commerce, and migration. Johannesburg controls the financial pulse of the nation, even without a formal political title. And then there's Durban. On paper, it's not a capital either, but it's South Africa's busiest port, a city tied to Indian Ocean trade, industrial exports, and a vital part of national logistics. Durban anchors the eastern coast and serves as the country's maritime gateway, deeply shaping regional economics and international relations. So you have 5 capitals, 3 written in law, 2 enforced by reality. It sounds unstable, but in a country like South Africa, instability isn't a glitch. It's a feature that's constantly managed. Like tectonic plates pressing beneath the earth, the friction is there. But so is the movement. South Africa's capital system wasn't invented overnight. It was sculpted by British imperial designs, Boer resistance, apartheid segregation, and finally, democratic reformation. In 1910, when the Union of South Africa was born, leaders couldn't agree on a single capital, so they didn't. They split the functions, hoping to balance competing powers between the English Cape and the Afrikaner North. That split outlived the empire. It outlived apartheid. And when democracy arrived in 1994, many expected the country to unify its centers. But it didn't. The system remained. The lesson isn't just about capitals, it's about geography as narrative. Borders that don't only divide, but reveal. Cities that aren't just urban centers, but symbols in a national balancing act. In South Africa, geography isn't passive, it's active, shaping, resisting, and rearranging the country's very ability to function. Because sometimes, to hold a country together, you don't build one capital. You build 5, each holding part of the burden, each reflecting part of the truth, each keeping the whole from falling apart. And that is why this country has 5 capitals and still works. Subscribe to Your Earth Buddy for more interesting and fascinating places and happenings on Earth.